In this video we're going to take a look at how we get the score and the lives to be displayed on all levels. So currently you can see on the screen that I have my first level, which has now been drawn out, and this object in the center here, this is the controller object for the game, which we've looked at in previous videos. Level 2 I've got drawn out, okay, with my exit, and then finally I've got my level 3 drawn out with my cup at the end, which is going to be the end goal of my game. Nothing's going to happen with this at the minute. That's going to happen in a later video. Let me just show you currently what happens if I play the game. Okay, let the game load. Okay, so as I'm moving around, you can see that as I shoot the enemies, if I try to shoot the enemies and collect the key, my score should go up. Okay, so if I there we go. So you can see I got 100 points for the enemy, 150 points for collecting the object. Oh. And if I come onto the exit for this level, you can see that I start the new level with no score, no lives being displayed. Okay, but if I shoot these enemies, the code on the bullet object on the player is still adding points to the score. It's not displayed. So what we need to do is to look at how we get the level to be persistent across all, or the scoring and the live system to be persistent across all levels. Okay, so persistent just means that it continues. Okay, so it persists. So there's only one score, one live system, and that exists between all of the levels of the game. So that's what we're going to look at in this video. So it's not a particularly complex action, but to understand what we need to do, we need to look at the workspace, and we need to look at the OBJ controller GUI. Okay, so what I'm interested in here is the drawing the GUI, and you can see that we've got a number of different commands that we've used to draw the live system on the level, on the first level. So the first thing we need to do is to decide on what we're going to actually go with. So I'm not going to go with the health bar, okay, and I'm not going to draw the value of the number of lives. So I'm going to get rid of those bits of code, and I'm going to just do a bit of reorganization of this code. So the first thing I'm going to do is to get rid of the drawing the value of the number of lives. So I don't want that, so I'm just going to get rid of that box like that. I want to draw the score, but I don't want to draw the health bar, so I'm going to get rid of the health bar. Okay. Now I'm just going to tidy this up just a little bit. I'm going to set the font, I'm going to move that to the top of this list. It does exactly the same thing, it's just that what happens now is it sets the font first and then performs these two actions. And these two actions, they are important, okay, because we're going to duplicate these in the next bit of code that we're going to do. So what we want is when we switch rooms, when we change rooms, we want to draw the same objects in the different rooms. Okay, so I want to draw the lives again, and I want to draw the score again. So we use a command to do that called switch. So we just type in switch. There's the switch command, and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag that under my set font. And you can see it gives me this branch. Okay, and what we want to do, we want to switch the room, and the variable for room is room. Okay, so you can see that there's a built-in variable. So what we want to do is, when we switch the room, we want to do the following things. Okay, if we're in room 1, we want to draw this. If we're in room 2, we want to draw this, and if we're in room 3, we want to draw this. And that is going to be done by a case statement. So I'll explain how that works in a second. So I'm just going to type in case. This is the case. I'm going to click and I'm going to drag that to the side of the switch, and you can see now that I've got switch case. Okay, so these are my room values. I got RM underscore level 1. So let's start with that one. RM underscore level 1. No spaces. Okay. So when we switch room to level 1, we want to draw the lives. So we're going to drag that across onto there. Let's move that, make that a little bit bigger so we can see what's going on. And I want to draw the score over there as well. Okay, so that does exactly the same thing as what we just had in the first piece of code that I just amended. So let me just play it just so you can see what I mean. So when I run my game now, I get my score displayed, I get my lives displayed. Okay, but you can see that the health bar is now gone. Okay, and so is the count for the number of lives. But again, if I go into my room for level 2, I'm going to have the same problem again. So when I come up to level 2 and I go in, you can see that my lives and my score do not appear. So how do I fix that? Well, it's quite straightforward from this point on because we've already got the code. So what we're going to do is to add another case into here. So I'm going to add another case, and I'm going to put this on the side over there. So this time case rm underscore level 2. Okay, and I'm going to copy that piece of text. So I'm going to copy this one. I'm going to paste it underneath here. Drag that down underneath there, and I'm going to copy this one. I'm going to paste this one underneath here. Okay, so now what I should have is when I go into room 2, this should be displayed again. Now before we start this, there's something else I need to do. So if I come off this and I just close this down for a second, on the controller object, okay, we need to make sure that we have this persistent box ticked here, and that means that I don't have to drag in my controller object at each level. Okay, it'll just stay, and you can see that it says instances of this object will persist between rooms. That means that the current value of score and lives will be carried over into all the rooms you play. So I'm just going to click persistent. Okay, now let's try it again. So my first level, I'm still, oh, that's pretty good for me. Right, let's collect the key. Let's come across to collect the gem there. So you can see I'm currently on 450 points. Okay, and when I go into the next level, you can see that my persistence as we worked, I've still got 450 points. Okay, and if I'd have lost a life on that level as well, the lives would have been carried across as well. Okay, so that's how we are working with persistence between levels. So all I need to do now is to come back onto the GUI, and let's see if I can make this work now. Let's just move this bar out of the way so I can make this a bit bigger. Okay, right, so what I want to do now is to copy this whole case statement. Now will it let me do that? If I go onto this side and I click that, hold down control and select those. So what I did there was selected the first option, okay, the case level 2, control, click, and it's selected all of those objects, and I want to right click, let's see what I can do here, see if I can paste them in, paste, no, that's not worked, let's get rid of that. Okay, let's try, okay, I'm going to have to copy them individually. So let's copy this one. Again, I'm going to paste this down the bottom, if it lets me, there we go, and now I've got another case at the bottom. Oh, there you are, it's copied them all. Okay, so let's try that again, just so you can see what I'm doing. What I did was right clicked on this one, copy, okay, clicked underneath here, paste, and it's copied the case statement plus the 2 lines of code. What I need to do is to change this to level 3. Okay, right, now let's see if that works, and if it keeps the scores persistent across levels, and if it does, we are done. So let's have a quick go. So first off, let's lose a life to make sure that the lives are persistent. Okay, right, there we we go, so I got a score on the board. Let's get the key. Guaranteed if I don't shoot these, they're gonna get me as I go through my level. There we go. Right, let's go into this room so you can see that I've got 350 points with 2 lives. Brilliant. Okay, I've got 500 points now, still with 2 lives. Let's get this tricky ghost here. Let's go into the level. There we go, and I still got 500 points with 2 lives. So I'm moving between 3 different levels, and I've got my score is now persistent across the levels, so it keeps a tally of my score and a tally of my lives. So the next thing we're going to look at is how we add a background to the levels. So we're going to look at using images on the background. So join me in the next video.